So, David, to start us off this week, what's the situation looking like regarding injuries this weekend? We obviously saw Doug Tharm limp off against Barnet on Saturday. So, do we have a bit of an update on Doug, and what's maybe the latest on Cam, Jason, and Christie as well?
Yeah, Doug, we're getting a second opinion on. We've had a scan. We're not sure. We don't think it's particularly good news, but we're getting a second opinion. We'll know more probably by the end of this week, maybe early next week. So I don't think it's particularly good news, but we want to find out for certain. Cam Gardner's stepping up all the time. I've seen him doing some strides and some maybe high-speed running today without sprinting. But obviously it's the last bit that's always the most crucial bit. So that's him. Jason, he saw a specialist on Tuesday. We are digesting that. There will be actions off the back of that in order to try and get him back fit as soon as we can. So everyone's sort of progressing, but certainly in Jason's case, it's one step forward, two steps back at the minute, which is frustrating for him, for all of us. With Cam, it's making sure that he's had two hamstrings in 2 years, so we've got to be really careful with him. And obviously Doug's a new one, so we're just sort of assessing it as, if you like, from day to day and seeing where we go, and making sure that we're not forgetting about them or anything like that, and giving them the love and the support that they need. And
presumably Christie's progressing as planned as well.
Yeah, Christie's I wouldn't say a wily old fox. That might suggest, I don't know, wrong. But he's a great guy. Just gets on about his business. When he's been out on the pitch and when he's been in the gym, he's never needed much looking after from the day he walked in the door. And he knows what it is, and he knows who he is, if you like. So he's fine. He's progressing nicely.
Super. So, this week we've seen the departure of Danny Rose from the club after a 2.5-year sort of stint here. What's your take on Danny's time with the club?
Well, I think he was a fantastic servant to his football club. I thought certainly the first sort of 3-4 months that I was in the building, he was it was fantastic for us. He was a real leader. He was terrific. We had a really open and frank conversation with each other before Christmas. And I said, look, I might be killing myself here, but we're looking to improve the forward line. And if we do, and you find something that you like, then we'd be receptive to it. But only if that's what you want. And if you don't, you stay here and you fight, and you'll play some games. So obviously I left myself wide open to that not happening, if you like, and him staying here. But then I was also being absolutely honest with him and straightforward with him, and by all accounts, he's got more money at Barrow, and it's a great deal for him, and it's in essence virtually a 2.5-year deal if he makes a couple of appearances. So we had a chat on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday after he'd signed, and we basically thanked each other for what he'd done for this football club, how he'd helped me as a head coach in his time here, and how he was an exemplary professional. And he thanked me for trying to make him a better player and all that. So look, I haven't got one bad word to say about Danny. I think he's a great guy, great pro. He'll be missed, but my job is to progress the football team, and there's some are a bit harder than others, and that's not an easy one to do. But we feel as though we've improved, and like I said, that's my job. So we have to take sentiment and emotion out of it, and wish him well, and we genuinely do wish him well, with the exception of one day in March. So that's football.
With Danny now obviously having left the club, fans will be sort of keen to know if you've potentially selected a new club captain and who that may be.
The honest answer is we've never even discussed it. That's the point we're going to have to do, isn't it? We haven't even thought about it. We've been that busy with recruitment. Obviously, we've had lots of fixtures and to rearrange, and we're getting all the ducks in order with that, and recruitment. We had the Cleethorpes game on Tuesday night to think about. We're trying to integrate new players with all the onboarding stuff there. So we've had lots to think about. That's not even come up yet. So we're best we best get his thinking caps on that one.
No problem. So we now obviously find ourselves unbeaten in the last 5 in all competitions with 4 successive clean sheets in the league. You mentioned on Saturday that the win was one of the most important wins of the season so far. Why do you feel that's the case, and how important is having this momentum now going into the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think there's two big reasons why it was our best win of the season. First of all, they're the only team that's given us a real tonking. So to then bounce back from that shows progress. Also, all the data says that they're the best team in the league, and although probably fans don't like to hear this, the table does lie. It does. You know, it's a common misconception. Certainly, halfway through the season, that the table is reality. It's not always the case. Often it is. Barnet should be much higher in the table. So should we. So we knew that they were the best team in the league, objectively, taking all emotion out of it, how they performed. And you could see that. I think anyone who was at BP last Saturday could see that Barnet were a good team, even with 10 men. You know, they got let down by one of their players, which that's for them to sort out. I thought we were terrific though as well. And we won the game, and that was important, like I say, off the back of our away performance where we didn't play very well, and they did, and the fact that we think that they're the best team in the league.
Fantastic. And it's obviously been another busy week as well, having booked our place in the County Cup final on Tuesday evening after beating Cleethorpes Town. While it's maybe not necessarily a competition of high priority, is it pleasing to be able to reach the final of a regional competition?
Yeah, it's more pleasing to have games where you can try one or two things out. You know, the obvious one being Cookie playing 45 minutes, but also making sure that people like Clark is at the top of their game. Like, he was the best player on the pitch by, when I say some distance, like an enormous distance. He was outstanding. You know, so that's really good, really helpful. And then by the end of the game, we've basically got 3/4 of the team is the youth team, and they're doing well, and we're integrating that side of it, and the development comes into it. So all in all, them games are really important because they're competitive games. You know, it's never easy going to Cleethorpes Town, and certainly the way they play now and their physicality and their direct approach, especially when you play in the last 20, 25 minutes with, like I say, 3/4 of the team being the youth team players. But it shows that, you know, the older players, the pros, have then got to show leadership qualities as well as reliability. So you're asking them to maybe do different things and show different things. So there's all them things that you stand and watch, and you're seeing, right, who's keeping the ball well, who's passing on instructions, who's just doing their job. You know, there's all them things, and likewise the youth team players, who's doing well, who's not doing too well, who can cope, who can't cope. There's lots of things that you take from them games. So to have another one, I don't even know if it's against, I don't know when it is, but to have another one, you get to see them again, all them things. And it might not be, it'll be some youth team players, but it might not be the same pros because of form and fitness and what have you, and they're getting more regular minutes in the team. So you get to find out a lot about your team, and that's a good thing.
Super. It'll be either Lincoln United or Boston United in the final, with the date to be confirmed as well, just for a bit of background as well. Tuesday night obviously presented, as you mentioned, a chance to get minutes into the legs of players like Ty, Justin, Clark, Seb, and also Andy as well, who managed to get himself on the score sheet. How important was that opportunity to get Cookie minutes ahead of not just Saturday, but also a busy league schedule coming up?
Yeah, we've been no secret, because it's out there, that he last played a game before he came to us last week on the 2nd of December, I think it was, 2nd or 3rd of December. And that wasn't a particularly long time. So last thing we want to do is go, right, you start and you come off 60 minutes, but on minute 35 he pulls his calf. It's just nonsensical. It's actually, I don't know, it's negligent if we do that, really, in a footballing, sporting sense. So we've got to treat Cookie like we'd treat anyone else, given the fact that he's 35 as well, but he's in great nick, which helps. So we're just trying to increase him gradually, slowly, without breaking him. And I think that's really important. He's had a serious knee injury as well, coming off the back of that. He's itching to play more minutes, which is brilliant. He understands that we're doing it from a not necessarily a scientific point of view, because it's not like, you can only play X minutes. but we're doing it in his best interest, and he understands that, and that's why he only played 45, so he could train properly today. He could have played maybe 60, 65, but then he'd have had less training today. So we couple that kind of thing in as well. So yeah, it's important. It's important for some of them to have 90 minutes for the first time in a while as well. So yeah, it was a pleasing night, not just because of the result, because we come through it unscathed really, and all them aforementioned things as well.
Looking ahead then to Cheltenham on Saturday, they're a side who find themselves 18th in the league, have won 2 in their last 5, but how important is it for you to make sure that they're a side that aren't taken lightly, and one we must sort of be on top of our game for?
Yeah, it's the League 2 team. There's no easy games in League 2. Anyone who thinks it's going to be an easy game or we should be 1 up after 10 minutes, no. Honestly, football doesn't work like that. They're a much better team than they were when we saw them last. They're much better organised. There might be very similar players, or most of the players are there still, but I think they all know that they let themselves down, and it's always difficult with 9 men and all that. We know we're in for a tough afternoon. If we play like we have been playing, then we should be fine. But Cheltenham are trying to win the game as well. They're not just going to turn up and just go, because we lost them before, we're going to lose to them again. That's not how football works, not how life works. So we know we're going to be right on top of our game, play really well, stop their threats, and expose what we believe their weaknesses are. So we approach the game the same, and it's important that we try and get the 3 points and keep our little run going.
The data suggests that they seem to be good with their aerial duels and can break up the play well, with them having the second highest interceptions won in the league. How do you sort of prepare for that unique challenge that they bring?
I think every team has some sort of aerial threat, that's for sure, in this league. So I don't think that's necessarily a new thing. Obviously, they've got George Miller up front, who's a handful and he's awkward, and they get the ball into him and they play off him, and the wide forwards are good. Thomas especially. So, excuse me. We know they've got threats. There's always set pieces to contend with. That's the same with any team, whether it be Oldham or Barnet or whoever. Who have we got next? Colchester next. They've all got threats. So we have to make sure that we're on top of our game and we play at our level. And like I say, if we do, then we've got a good chance of winning. But we can't just take it for granted. That's absolutely a bonkers mindset.
David, thank you very much and good luck for this weekend.
Thank you.